195. To upgrade to Windows 7 Ultimate or perform a clean install, which requires THEM to reinstall all of their programs. 196. The changes to user account control on Windows 7 were criticized for being potentially insecure, as an exploit was discovered allowing untrusted software to be launched with elevated privileges by exploiting a trusted component. Peter Bright of Ars Technica argued that the way that the Windows 7 UAC improvements have been made completely exempts Microsoft's developers from having to do that work themselves. With Windows 7, it's one rule for Redmond, another one for everyone else. 197. Microsoft's Windows kernel engineer Mark Russinovic acknowledged the problem, but noted that malware can also compromise a system when users agree to a prompt. 94. 198. Sales. In July 2009, in only 8 hours, pre-orders of Windows 7 at Amazon.co.uk surpassed the demand which Windows Vista had in its first 17 weeks. 199. It became the highest grossing pre-order in Amazon's history, surpassing sales of the previous record holder, the 7th Harry Potter book. 200. After 36 hours, 64-bit versions of Windows 7 Professional and Ultimate Editions sold out in Japan. 201. 2 weeks after its release, its market share had surpassed that of Snow Leopard, released 2 months previously as the most recent update to Apple's Mac OS X operating system. 202. 203. According to Net Applications, Windows 7 reached a 4% market share in less than 3 weeks. In comparison, it took Windows Vista 7 months to reach the same mark. 204. 205. As of February 2014, Windows 7 had a market share of 47.49% according to Net Applications. In comparison, Windows XP had a market share of 29.23%. 206. On the 4th of March 2010, Microsoft announced that it had sold more than 90 million licenses. 207. By April 23, 2010, more than 100 million copies were sold in 6 months, which made it Microsoft's fastest-selling operating system. 208. 209. As of the 23rd of June, 2010, Windows 7 has sold 150 million copies, which made it the fastest-selling operating system in history, with 7 copies sold every second. 209. 210. Based on worldwide data taken during June 2010 from Windows Update, 46% of Windows 7 PCs run the 64-byte edition of Windows 7. 211. According to Stephen Baker of the NPD Group during April 2010. In the United States, 77% of PCs sold at retail were pre-installed with the 64-bit edition of Windows 7. 211. 212. As of the 22nd of July 2010, Windows 7 had sold 175 million copies. 213. On the 21st of October 2010, Microsoft announced that more than 240 million copies of Windows 7 had been sold. 214. 3 months later, on January 27, 2011, Microsoft announced total sales of 300 million copies of Windows 7. 215. On the 12th of July 2011, the sales figure was refined to over 400 million end-user licenses and business installations. 216. As of the 9th of July 2012, over 630 million licenses have been sold. This number includes licenses sold to OEMs for new PCs. 217. Antitrust concerns. As with other Microsoft operating systems, Windows 7 was studied by United States federal regulators who oversee the company's operations following the 2001 United States v. Microsoft Corporation settlement. According to status reports filed, the three-member panel began assessing prototypes of the new operating system in February 2008. Michael Gartenberg, an analyst at Jupiter Research, said, Microsoft's challenge for Windows 7 will be how can they continue to add features that consumers will want that also don't run afoul of regulators. 218. In order to comply with European antitrust regulations, Microsoft proposed the use of a ballot screen containing download links to competing web browsers, thus removing the need for a version of Windows completely without Internet Explorer, as previously planned. 219. Microsoft announced that it would discard the separate version for Europe and ship the standard upgrade and full packages worldwide, in response to criticism involving Windows 7e and concerns from manufacturers about possible consumer confusion if a version of Windows 7 with Internet Explorer were shipped later, after one without Internet Explorer. 220. As with the previous version of Windows, an N version, which does not come with Windows Media Player, has been released in Europe, but only for sale directly from Microsoft sales websites and selected authors. 221. See also BlueKeep, a security vulnerability discovered in May 2019 that affected most Windows NT-based computers up to Windows 7. References 1. LeBlanc, Brandon, the
Okay, I did not know that. So that's page 14, and then we have 20 pages with reference. That's so many, 20 pages. And I downloaded this a few days ago. So 27 November. So that's two-part videos. Let's close it. I like to continue Windows 8, but that's a new video.